Hello everyone, welcome to this new video. So in this video we are going to very much focus on the upcoming November 2023 and the February 2024 case study exams. We all know that the case study or the pre-scene is going to be the same over both of these windows. So the same case study is going to be used for the November exams and the same case study is going to be used for the Feb exams. Before you start getting ideas in your mind, let me tell you that the questions that come up in the November exam and the questions that come up in the Feb exam are going to be different. So the only advantage that you have is that you have the same case study over two windows. The difficulty remains the same, the challenge remains the same, the syllabus remains the same, the pre-scene remains the same. The questions will change. So it will be a challenging exam whether you go for November, whether you go for February 2024. But the idea is that if you are looking at these exams, time to start now. This is the right place and the right time you're watching this video, because we will help you get a head start even before the pre-scene is out and give you great tips on how you can start beginning your revision, your study. Before we move on, I'm sure you've been on the channel. My name is Devansh and I'm the lead tutor who leads the case study exams. We are CIMA registered tuition providers and most recently have joined the group of tuition providers that hold the Global Pass Rate Excellence Award. There are only 6 tuition providers in the entire world who hold this recognition, and FinTutors is now part of this group. This again tells you you're in the right place, you're listening to the right advice, and you are sure to benefit from it as long as you follow the guidelines or the instructions that we give you. If you've signed up to one of our courses already, well done. You've started early. You will 100% find starting early helpful. But if you haven't already and are thinking of starting your study or are apprehensive and anxious about how you'll cover everything building up to the November or the Feb exam, this video will definitely help you. So gearing up for pre-scene release towards mid-September, or the end of September, and starting your preparations early is key. The OCS pre-scene comes out mid-September, and by the end of September, MCS and SCS will also be out. But before that, what you should be doing? Or even once the pre-scene is released, what should you be doing? Should you directly jump to the pre-scene? I don't think that's the right approach. And that's where students get stuck. I don't want that to happen to you. And that is why I will be discussing tips and guides for the CIMA case studies to help you get started. See, I know there are a lot of WhatsApp groups, a lot of Facebook groups, which you can ask this question on as to what I should do before the pre-scene is released. But they're not experts. They're not Global Pass Rate Excellence Award holders. If it's coming from an expert, please follow it. If it's coming from a tuition provider who's registered, please follow it. But rather than making a discussion with your colleagues, it's best to follow somebody who has the experience, who's delivering these high pass rates, who is registered, has been recognized with CIMA. So once you listen to our explanations, once you follow my instructions, you'll see that when you study in a directed way, when you study with somebody having oversight on your preparation, your concentration, your confidence is in the right direction because you know what you're doing, not running around here and there trying to figure out what I should do next. So this is what this video is going to help you with. And this video is for everybody. You're doing the OCS, this will be helpful. You're doing the MCS, this will be helpful. You're doing the SCS, this will be helpful because it's a video on preparing case studies. The syllabus for OCS, MCS, SCS is different, but the case study remains the case study. The fundamentals are absolutely the same. So the fundamentals are not changing here. So any case study exam is divided into 3 parts. The first part is your revision part, whether you're taking the OCS, MCS or SCS. The first place to start is revision. See, it's a CIMA exam. So you are expected to replicate CIMA specific knowledge. We have students who come in from various routes. Students taking the FLP route, students coming from the exemptions route, students directly entering into the strategic case study or the MCS or the OCS. We have all students in our courses will cater to you. If you tell us that, okay, I'm entering through this route, we'll give you a better suited study package that you need. If you tell us that, okay, this is what I need, we'll cater to that. But remember, revision, no matter what route you are entering from, is very, very, very important. Revision is the place to start with. Whether you received your exemptions because surely you've done another qualification, but you don't have CIMA specific knowledge. So in that case, a quick refresher is needed on the E, P and F pillars. So the place to start with, wherever you are coming from, whatever route you are coming from, is revision. Remember that. I'll tell you how it's to be done deeper in the video, but let's break down the case study first. So case study exam, first part is revision. Second part is pre-scene analysis. The company that they give you, the company that is released by CIMA, needs to be analyzed. And the third part is mock exam writing. Writing mocks in exam conditions, exactly like the exam, and getting it professionally marked, checked and corrected by a team of tutors is very, very important. Naturally, if you're studying with us, and the reason why we get our high pass rates, the reason why we hold the Global Pass Rate Excellence Award, is because we offer all three together in a systematic approach, in a very directed approach, telling you what to do when. Now, when your revision is not done, I can't give you a mock question to write, because when your revision is not done and the mock question is based on knowledge from E, P and F, how are you going to start to write the answer? There is no chance for you to write the answer. That is why what we do is first revision. Then using that knowledge, we dive into the pre-scene analysis, where we analyze the company and make relations to the E, P and F pillar. If it's OCS, E1, P1, F1. If it's MCS, E2, P2, F2. If it's SCS, E3, P3 and F3. On my YouTube channel itself, you can have a look at our past pre-scene analysis that we have done, and you will see how detailed, how very informative and how related it is to E, P and F pillars, telling you that these are important topics. These are important areas. They can come up in the exam. And then based on the pre-scene, we create mock questions of topics that have a high chance of coming up in the exam. Topics that we know previously have been coming up in the exam. So we will give you knowledge on the same. So we will test you on the same, correct you on the same, and then we give you suggested and model answers on the same. Now this I'm explaining my method. But if you feel that you can do all these three by yourself, self-study is also the way to go. But again, everything has its pros and cons. My idea overall is, let's say you self-study, you don't pass the exam, you got to pay the 200, 250 pound exam fee again. Rather, invest in a tuition provider, any tuition provider, who is reasonable, who is giving you that personalized time, effort, commitment, so that you take the exam once, you invest once in terms of your time, your effort and your money, and you pass it once. And all of our courses come with a pass guarantee attached. It has terms and conditions which we have mentioned on the website, or you can ask us as well and we will happily assist you with the same. The idea is, wherever you are studying, these three things are the pillars of the exam: revision, pre-scene and mock question writing. I have broken down each exam, OCS, MCS and SCS, in great detail in my intro to OCS exam, intro to MCS exam, intro to SCS exam video, which is also available on YouTube. So after this video, you can go through that video as well. It will tell you for your specific exam what you are supposed to focus on, what the major focus areas are. But this video is helping you start your prep early for the upcoming case study exams. So if you haven't already understood, the first thing that we'll do is focus on revision. So the importance of effective exam prep, if it's not already clear to you yet, let me tell you, the earlier you start, the easier your exam and your study experience is going to be. 100% it becomes easier if you start early, because you can spend time gradually. Now majority, I'll say 85 to 90% of my students are working professionals. So they have limited time. My course is created for the same. You study 1.5 to 2 hours regularly every single day. There is no chance that you don't do well on the exam. Now what happens is I get students who want to study 8 hours a day, but they'll study only the last 7 days build up to the exam. It's not going to be enough, because there is so much to cover, which you can only do if you gradually follow the instructions and follow the process that we set up, that we create for you. So for any student coming through the exceptions route or after a break in their studies, the first thing is EPF refreshment. Students coming from the exemption route or needing a refreshment, we have revision courses created for you, and we first will ask you to focus on revision. No value on reading past papers, no value on diving into the pre-scene if your revision is not done. So what we recommend is, till the time the case study releases, pick up and cover as much revision as possible, because this is your golden time. This is your, I'll say, bonus time that you have, because once the pre-scene is out, you have other things to worry about, like diving to the pre-scene, like mock questions. But without your revision, how will you do any of that? So the early first focus has to be on revision. So you have good revision time right now, or even once the case study is out, the early time, just the case study being released, you still have time for revision. Generally, all tuition providers begin their case study discussions once the pre-scene is out, or a couple weeks after the pre-scene is out. So you have still lots of time to get your E, P and F pillar revision done. And I'm not saying that by the time the pre-scene releases, entire E, P and F has to be covered. No, but at least one module would be a good place to start with. I have students who have covered 0 modules and started with me. They do well. I have students who have covered 1 module and then dive into the case study. They do well. It all depends on your time, your effort, your commitment. But the earlier you start, life is easier for you. That's what we have experienced. So up until now, I have given you the importance of revision. Now the idea is, how do I do my revision? A lot of students ask me this. So it's very simple. I'm sure if you're self-studying, you have some study notes, or you're using the textbook, or any kind of material that you have, you'll start reading through the same. While you are doing this reading, absolutely 0 effort has to go into learning definitions, mugging up everything, doing sums, mugging up formulas for the case study is an absolute waste. Any topic, if you're doing P1 and you're looking at absorption costing, you should know what absorption costing is in your own words. If you're doing E3, you should know what the CIMA Code of Ethics is in your own words. You should know what risk management is, or the types of risks, in your own words if you're doing P2. So the idea is, if you try to learn everything, mug up everything, you cannot take the exam even with a year's time. Even if I give you 1 year, learning everything from E, P and F, whatever level you are on, is not possible. and humanly you can't retain that much. But when you have remembered a concept in your own words, nobody can help you forget it, because it's in your own words. Even if you ask me, I don't know everything on the top of my head in E, P and F for all three levels, but you give me any topic on any of the three levels, I will give you an explanation of it in my own words, because that's how I've chosen to remember it. So any topic, may it be NPV, risk management, probabilities, anything at all, you should be able to explain it in your own words and do chapter by chapter. First chapter, major concepts in your own words, fine, tick, move on. No sums, no definitions, you don't have to learn everything. Advantages, disadvantages, you remember two trigger points in your own words and keep moving on. Think, if you are at work today and somebody asks you to explain what NPV means, will you say, okay, hold on, I'm going to run and take my P2 textbook and then I'll give you the answer? I'm sure you won't do that. Same way, you need to what you would do is you would come up with an NPV explanation in your own words and then give it to that person right then, right there. But in your own words. That will be more understandable for the person and it's obviously more rememberable for you. So think, any topic, any concept that you're doing, let's say first chapter of EPF pillar, whatever level, whatever you're doing, has 10 topics. You should be able to explain those 10 topics in your own words. That's how your revision has to continue. Quick, rapid, fast, in your own words, because that knowledge will be used to start an answer. Nobody is going to ask you to write a whole thesis on NPV or on absorption costing, marginal costing or activity based costing. Absolutely not. You will use that knowledge, blend it with the pre-seen and then write a mock question. So the 3 pillars which I explained at the beginning is what is the whole exam is about. But when you're doing your revision, read your study notes, no definitions, no mugging up. You're trying to remember concepts in your own simple words. If you can give 5, 6, 7 lines on each concept in your own words, if that you have practiced, you are on the right path. Let me show you how. So I'm going to cut over here to an explanation of how the OCS level study is to be done. This is just an example. Even if you're doing MCS or SCS, this method you can follow. I'm just showing you an example of how study can be taken forward, and everything that I just mentioned, I'll give you an example about it. So here you go. To make your study more case study centric, more case study scenario based, these learnings have been created for you. If you choose to sign up to any of our courses, we will be giving you notes for E1, P1 and F1 which are very well broken down and which are very summarized. Along with the notes for P1, we give you this groundbreaking document which only we have created. You will not find this anywhere else. What is this learnings? So we'll first ask our students to go through our notes, because your study from the notes is important. Our notes are summarized, runs you through the important topics, but it's important. But once you've done that, this learnings at the end of every chapter tells you what you must know from that chapter from the case study perspective. For a very simple example, in P1 chapter 1, let's look at the first learning. The role of a cost accountant and the operational decisions criteria. It is what you must keep in mind, because this will be your role for the operational case study exam. So the first topic in the P1 notes is role of a cost accountant. And over there they have different, they've stated different roles, like the operational role, the management role and the strategic role. But from the OCS exam perspective, students need to know what operational decisions are. That's what I'm telling you over here as part of the first learning. You should know that your remit and responsibility is to take operational level tasks only, which means the day-to-day running of the business. So knowledge of what the tactical and strategic decisions, the management and strategic decisions are, is also important. So from this first topic, you should know what the operational decision criteria is. Along with that, just know that there are two other levels which are called tactical and strategic level. And what do these entail? Part number 1 finished, you move on. So this learning clearly tells you that this is what you should know in your own words, and it acts like a revision for you. It acts like a quick revision for you, a quick light bulb for you to know that this is what I'm supposed to know from here. I don't need to learn every point. I don't need to learn anything. I just need to present my own explanations. If you look at chapter number 1, this way there are 4 pointers for chapter number 1. If you can remember these 4 pointers from chapter number 1, your job is done. Chapter number 1 completed. See how simple and well directed your study becomes. You're not roaming here and there and thinking how I should study this, how I should do this, because that is now clearly presented to you as part of these learnings. And these learnings go to a different level when you do very, very heavy topics like activity based costing, or when you're doing LPP. What should I know? When you're doing those break-even charts, what should I learn? Like, how will they ask a break-even chart in the exam? What should I remember? All of that is made incredibly easy for you as part of these learnings. So coming back from the example now, you see how simple it gets? Just by following a directed approach, just by having our study notes, our learning documents, our revision material, your life is much more easier. When you sign up with us, put everything else aside. You don't need textbooks, this, that, nothing. Everything will come from us. Your exam becomes my exam, my team's exam, and we will ensure that we give you everything at the right time. So how much revision and time will I need? Students often ask this. I will say a good dedicated 2 hours, max 3 hours will be enough. But regularly is important. Every day 2 hours you have to put aside. Students spend hours and hours reading through sums and perfecting every single topic and remembering everything. I don't want this. I don't need this. It is not needed. I just explained the study method, study pattern to you. Be smart in your approach. Even if you're starting 1.5 months before the case study exam, you can do well. But if you have a directed approach, if you know what needs to be focused on. So if you're starting now for the November exam, you have enough time. You're starting end of September, you have enough time. You're starting, October 1st, 2nd week, you have enough time, but you need somebody to guide you through it. That's where tuition providers come into the picture, because we make it simple, easy for you. Admin work for you is zero, because we'll tell you, okay, do this. Then you'll have to spend time only doing it, not thinking whether I'm doing the right thing or the wrong thing, because we have provided that direction for you. So start early. That's the moral of the story. Also, question is, what happens when revision is completed? Firstly, over all of my years of teaching, I don't know anybody whose revision has been complete or who can confidently tell me I know everything in E, P and F. It's not possible. So that is why we say you must keep going through revision at your own pace, continuously, till the date of the exam. So for example, let's say pre-scene releases end of September. You're taking the MCS exam, for example. This can be applied for OCS and SCS also. But example, you're taking MCS, which is November 2nd week. End of September, you are starting, and pre-scene also released. So what I would suggest is, first start with P2 revision. P for parrot, because P2 is the most important pillar for the MCS. Once P2 is completed, pick up the case study. Side by side, continue your revision on E2 and F2 till the date of the exam. Because if you just focus on revision and then leave yourself 10-15 days at the end for pre-scene and mock writing, you are out of the game. You can't do well. So we will give you the timelines, we will show you the timelines, but revision is a continuous process. Side by side, we'll pick the pre-scene for you. We'll do the mock questions for you. Let's say you finished P2, so first we'll start with P2 related mock questions. Then slowly bring in E2, slowly bring in F2 and test you on everything. And when we do our pre-scene, like my pre-scene past videos will be on YouTube, so you can have a look at them. But when we do the pre-scene, we highlight important areas of the F3 syllabus, of the E3 syllabus if you're doing the SCS. For MCS and OCS, E2, P2 and F2, E1, P1 and F1 respectively. But this is just to show you that when we do our pre-scene analysis, we make relation to topics from the syllabus areas. So if you've revised your syllabus areas, this will make more sense to you. This will be more clear for you. This will be more understandable for you. That is why we say first start with revision. And then naturally we will move you to our exam writing software, which is timed exactly like the exam. I've put a sample for you over here, the pattern of the exam, the structure of the exam, the system of the exam, and we'll break down for you how a mock question needs to be written. How do you address a question? How do you look at a question? What you do to break down a question and how you write an answer. We'll show you everything. But the place to start with is revision. So if you're starting early, you can look at our courses on my FinTutors website, or you can email us, WhatsApp us, or ask us your questions on our website chat, and we will happily help you. But start early and focus on revision like I have mentioned. For any questions, put them in the comment section below, or like I said, reach us at help@fintutors.com. That's our email, help@fintutors.com, and we will happily help you. I hope you found this video helpful. I look forward to seeing you on one of my study courses. Good luck, everybody.